Unbelievable! That is a dream goal!
They found it! They finally found the goal they were looking for!
What a finish that is! Do not scratch your eyes! This is really happening! Hello everyone, welcome to the Game in Frame live stream. I'm Josh Pratt with Joshua Ajokwu on camera. We're at St John's tonight for the Pancyprian Freedoms against Vistula Garfield in the American Premier Soccer League Metropolitan Conference. The title race is heating up after Doxa's dramatic late equaliser took points off of the league leaders, Greek Americans, for only the second time this season. It has been a near flawless season for the Greeks before last Sunday, but they showed real vulnerability against Doxa, conceding 4, even though their Hellenic rivals were reduced to 10 men early in the contest. The chasing pack smell blood and all have closed the gap in the past week. Pancyprians sitting in 4th, albeit with games in hand, but still, even with those games in hand, they're in a scenario where they have almost no room for error if they hope to successfully defend their Metropolitan League title. Their visitors, Vistula, tonight were torn apart by Lansdowne in the middle of the week, conceding 5, but they have proven tricky for top of the table clubs earlier in the season. They held the Greeks to a 1-1 draw at Hofstra in November. They beat Leros last week at Susa, and when they met the Pancyprians in October, it took a late Tristino goal to deliver victory for the Blues. Whilst the Pancyprians are looking up the table, Vistula are nervously looking down once again. The past 2 seasons, they've narrowly survived relegation. Looks like they might get dragged into the dogfight again. It's a massive game tomorrow night between Zoom Snyder and New York Athletic Club, which we will have on Game and Frame. That is certainly one that Vistula is going to keep an eye on. But tonight, if they could get any point, give them some invaluable extra breathing room. Well guys, we'll be back shortly with the kickoff. Don't go anywhere. The Pancyprian Freedoms against Vistula Garfield coming up. Hello everyone, welcome back. Pancyprian is in the blue, Vistula in the white. This is the 6th meeting between these two clubs in the APSL. The Pancyprians have won the previous 5. All of them comfortably, bar the most recent one I referenced a few minutes ago, where it was a late goal that won it. Well, 2 late goals really. Tristina made it 2-1 in the 88th, and then Ruiz sealed it in the 90th. But prior to that, all wins by 3-goal margins or greater for the Pancyprians. And the starting 11 we're expecting for the Pancyprians, it's going to be Shea Haday in goal. Josh Levine absent tonight. In front of him is going to be a very familiar backline. Thomas Gray, Jens Hoff, Devin Hinu and Sean Towie, who kept New York International pretty quiet last weekend and got the clean sheet. Just a second appearance tonight for Mateo Granberg, who's going to be in the defensive midfield. In front of him, Jordan Balon and Christopher Bermudez. And the front 3 is going to be James Tristino on the right, top scorer for the Pancyprians this campaign. Gielde Pereja on the left wing, and Jack Stainrod, the new signing, who has been brought into the Pancyprians set up to help with a bit of a goal scoring shortage for them this year, and he certainly solved that quickly last weekend, scoring a hat-trick inside the first half. And after a slow start to the season, the Pancyprians have certainly looked a lot more like themselves in recent league games. Since their defeat against Lansdowne towards the end of October, they have won their last 5 games in the league. All of them, those games, they've scored 4 goals. Marked change from the first 6 or so games, where they lost 3 league games, failed to score in all of those. But the ship is certainly being righted by Joe Holland, and perhaps they're beginning to peak at the right time, with the Greeks just showing a bit of vulnerability in what had previously seemed a pretty unassailable lead at the top of the table. That being said, a lot of new signings once again in Joe Holland's squad. Still a lot of gelling to be done. The first half, I thought last weekend, they looked impressive. Second half, there was a lot of subs made. Coach Holland was able to experiment with the lead being so great, and had almost an 11 that hadn't played together before, and it didn't click in the same way, that's for sure. It failed to score against a very beleaguered New York International side that was short of substitutions. There wasn't too many combinations, but that first half certainly, they looked back in the sort of form we've seen in previous years. For Vistula, they are in the middle of a fixture list that anyone would feel sorry for them about. This is their 7th consecutive league game against the top half of the table. They've got 2 more scheduled after this in a row, although I do think the Hoboken game in 2 weeks is probably going to get rescheduled due to cup clash. But it's been very punishing, the last 6 league games for Vistula, and it doesn't get any easier tonight. But if the Vistula that showed up to Leros last weekend is here tonight, then we're in for an interesting one. As we are kicked off here by Jonathan Gutierrez. Vistula in the white, playing from right to left. The Pancyprians in their blue. We do have a floodlight out here at St John's in the far left corner, but still enough light, the referee's feeling it's okay to play. And Eddie Granberg winning an early free kick here for the hosts. A bit of hesitation in the back for Vistula, and Steinrod, who has a habit of being in the right place at the right time, sensed some opportunity. Thrown right by the corner flag in that dark corner where the floodlight's gone out for St John's. Balon unable to help then on. Or Bermudez even, excuse me. Did finally get some spring last weekend after the brutal winter, but temperatures have dropped again. We're sitting in the high 30s this evening. Long sleeves for the players and a few gloves as well. Sean Towie back to Josh Levine stand-in. Shallow day. That wasn't a great first touch by the deputising keeper. Elazai. Pancyprian was hoping for a flag. It didn't come up. Elazai helping aside to Gutierrez. Vistula with their first bit of possession. Costello. Gutierrez. Well, Elazai, excuse me, showed a little bit too much there. Steinrod is going to buy himself a free kick. Very Canley against Kovek. Bermudez. Tristino drives it crossfield. Looping ball may come into Bermudez, and Jack Steinrod saved point blank by Aldo Munoz, excuse me, and that was a fantastic stop to deny the Pancyprians rampaging new signing a fourth goal in about 50 minutes of play. Aldo Munoz came flying off of his line. Really good early stop. There's a tempo early on here for Vistula in possession. Elazai is going to drive it crossfield. Hino watching closely. It'll fall to Gutierrez. Hino getting himself in the way. I think that's the big Norwegian Hoffer actually who made the block. Bermudez was tugged back in the midfield. Jordan Balon wearing the armband for the Pancyprians, drilling it crossfield, intercepted by Costello. Here's Bermudez. We're given a bit of time here by Vistula. Jack Steinrod, surrounded by white shirts, couldn't escape the close vigil. Grambug. Jordan Balon. In his 4 years with the Pancyprians, Balon has grown to really be a leader amongst the side. Wayward pass there, though, by the skipper. Commanding header by Thomas Gray against the legend Christopher Karks, who's entering his 42nd year, but still certainly a threat. He got 19 goals for Vistula last year. Former Red Bulls player back in 2008. A lot of the players on the field would have been infants back in 2008. continues to be a pivotal part of this Vistula side. He has slowed down a little bit with his goal tally this season, just 4 to his name. Although I say that is very respectable for a 42-year-old at this level. The lost sheep. Davis. And Grokowski is going to get a free kick. Granberg slamming into the back of him. And the referee having a word with Jordan Bailon. I think to have perhaps talk with Granberg for a second. Vistula have historically been stronger in the second half of the APSL campaign. I think it's when they are able to get some college players in, whereas full, perhaps a bit of a lighter squad. And they are playing with confidence in possession early on here. Great, very composed under heavy pressure. Shadowday. Hoff dealing with that pressure well. Bermudez. Towie. Tristino. Steinrod falling down off the ball. Tristino still with it. Looks towards the far post. And that was a decent chance for Gio de Pereira. Had a sighted goal, quite a tight angle. Not the easiest to execute technically on the volley, but he might be disappointed. He didn't do better there. Driven up towards Jordan Bailon. Try to set it back to Bermudez. And it's interesting seeing last weekend the adventurous runs Bailon was making forwards off the ball. Sometimes the head of Jack Steinrod really being off the last man. And that's something I haven't seen from him as much before. I think Joe Holland might have just given him a bit more of a licence early on this year. Granberg has gone to the book. Inside 10 minutes here. Referee gave him a warning a minute ago, which wasn't heeded. And it out by Hoff. It looked like it came off of the hand there of Elazai. Play continues and Hinu wins the 50-50. To Pereira, Hinu. And Jordan Bailon gallops forwards. Well marshalled on the far side by the full-back for Vistula. It's going to be a Vistula throw-in as well. German crossfield towards Towie, superb ball. Sean Tyers, lots of options towards the far post. Jordan Bailon. Drives it back across and cleared out desperately by Davis. Really good positioning by the centre-back. Had to get that just right. Cox is going to head it around the corner. Here's Gabriel Costa. He now recovers. Costa has a venomous strike into the side netting. Sheridan probably had it covered. Route 1 football by Vistula, but proved very effective. Good flick on header by Cox. It's off. Be another throw for the Pancyprians. Pancyprians not letting the Vistula break out. Driven up to Chris Cox. Great, smashing in behind him. Free kick about 40 yards out here. Rodriguez curls it in. It was awkward for Gray. Could have left that. I don't think he got a clear shout though, and he wasn't sure what was behind him. And Vistula will have their first corner kick. She will bend this in. Everyone back except for Jack Stainrod for the Pancyprians. Sheridan got a hand to it and a bit of indecision. The ball, the clearance deflected off of Nehar and came fortuitously from a Pancyprians perspective back into the hands of Sheridan. The host did not look comfortable at all with that near post corner, defending it. Davis with the knee in there. Elazite, hauled down by Sean Towie. Elazite. Everyone's appealing for a throw and it's not been given. It's a shot and a deflection. It's straight into the hands of Sheridan. It was Goksowski who hit the strike, took a deflection. Jens Hoff drills it forward. Davis again will meet it. Jota Pereira. Bermudez. Switches it. Looking for Hinu. Cut out by Costa. There's ball down the line. Cut out by Thomas Gray. There's Granberg. Tackled combatively but fairly. Gutierrez who threw himself in there. Jack Steinrod will give chase. They are getting a foot on it. Go out for a throw in right by the corner flag. It's going to be a long throw by Devin Hinu. Shaping up for it for a sec, went short, and here's Bermudez. Back to Hinu. Drives it in, Munoz with the punch. It was a good decision by the goalkeeper. Elazai not to be rushed. Bit of a hospital ball to Davis. Fortunate to get a throw in for Vistula. Elazai shoulder to shoulder with Towie, and again Towie is penalised. Castillo. And a heavy first touch by Costello. So Vistula's next game after this one is against the league leaders, the Greek Americans. They'll be hosting them on the 21st. And then, well, excuse me, I think it might be that day might be wrong actually. I have to double check that. But they meant to have Hoboken after that, but that may vary as Chris Clark's sniffing around in the penalty area. Enough pressure put on Jens Hoff that Vistula will earn themselves a second corner on that side. Loshi fires it in towards that near post again. Thrown for Vistula. Touched on by Elazai. Karks is offside. But Vistula are looking threatening. Certainly around the 18-yard box. They're pushing numbers forwards. They're having decent quality possession. They're breaking lines. They've only failed to score against the Pancyprians once in 5 meetings. And they do really rely on outscoring teams to get results. Vistula, they have the worst defence in the league this year. 41 goals conceded in 13 games. Towie tackling fairly that time. And stopping Koksowski in his tracks and actually winning the throw in, which I think is entirely the wrong call. Had a pretty good angle, and I'm almost certain Towie got the last touch on it. Jens Hoff. Scotsman Thomas Gray. Jack Steinrod. Other than that chance that brought out a fine save from Munoz early on, he's been kept quiet by Vistula, but he just needs a glint at a goal. Jack Steinrod, the third ranked national top scorer in last season's USL 2 campaign. Bermudez. Ball cut out, but it comes back to Jens Hoff. Granberg. Bermudez. Granberg. Balon. And James Tristino can have a run here at Costello. Tristino was looking for a cross, not met with the right contact by Davis, and he had to be bailed out by Nehar. It's going to be a corner for the Pancyprians. First goal last weekend came off of a Chris Bermudez corner kick. He fires it in. It's a dangerous ball. Enough Vistulas at that front post to deal with it. It's going to come back to Bermudez. First touch a little too heavy. Elazai does well, and Chris Karts can bring it out for Vistula. Hiloshi. No options on his right. He tried to reverse it back. Couldn't find a white shirt. Hino. Granberg. James Tristino. Searching for the gap, but cut out by Costello. Elazai. Gets it back from Costello. Drills it crossfield towards Costa. Easy ball for Gray to deal with. Here's Hino. Good tempo with the game. Pancyprians are forcing those passes a little bit into the front line. They're not paying off at the moment. Goes to Pereira. Whipped into James Tristino. One-on-one onto his right foot. James Tristino. Narrow angle. Flashed across the face of goal. And no one at that far post to get the touch. I think he was aiming for that far post there, Tristino. Skewed the shot a little and no one was diving in back there. De Pereira, Jordan Balon. Shared 8. Well, as confident as Vistula have looked on the ball these first 20 or so minutes, the defensive frailties very much on display once again. Two good chances for the Pancyprians already. Elazai. Good footwork by him. Chris Karks. Elazai back to Karks. Balon clattering in. The ball will come back to shared 8. Just about finds its way to Bermudez. Costello making a complaint to Bermudez. Oh guys, whilst that commotion's Okay, and let me remind you, today's broadcast is sponsored by Umbro. You can head to umbroteam.com to start designing your team kit for free now. Produced by Umbro, designed and worn by you. And still the debate is going on. And the referee's reaching to his pocket here. And clearly something happened off the ball between Costello and Bermudez. The referee didn't spot it. He went over to the linesman, who seemed to confirm Costello's side of the story. I think Vistula made a positional switch as well. It looks like Costello's moved into the midfield three, and Goksowski is now at left back, one-on-one with Tristino. Great. Winning the ball at the expense of a throw for Vistula. Go to Pereira. Tomlinson taking no prisoners with that tackle. It's back with the Pancyprians. That should be a foul. And Bermudez is writhing around the ground, and that is Castillo returning the favour for whatever happened. And they're certainly even now, both on yellow cards. And then it's getting a little heated between the players. The officials restoring order before things got too out of hand. And another yellow's been dished out to a lost sheep. Fired up by Great. Big initial header. James Tristino brings it out the sky. Got surrounded by three white shirts. And Vistula just about break out from the press. Elizate. Cox. Tomlinson. Costa. Under a lot of pressure by De Pereira, and he's lost it sloppily there. Costa. De Pereira down the channel. They are there to cover it. Again, well worked out by Vistula, and the referee is going to blow the whistle, and Bermudez has got to be careful. Mignon drills it up. Hoff winning the head up. Tristino didn't catch that right. He'll get the second ball though off of Goksowski. Granberg. Balon. Closed down by Cox. Referee judging his foot was just a little bit raised. Balon. Tristino. Eddie Granberg. Great. Hinu. It's going to be another corner kick for the Pancyprians. As a reminder, we've got more APSL action coming up tomorrow. Leros against Hoboken, 6 p.m. coming to you live from Sousa Wallencohen Complex. Game of the weekend in the Metro Division. Really is now or never for Leros if they're going to reignite their hopes of making the playoffs in their first season after being promoted. Hoboken, if they win, will move at least temporarily within 4 points of the Greeks before they play in the evening. And we're also going to have Zoom versus Nyack. Relegation 6-pointer, if you ever saw one. It's the bottom two against each other. Here comes the corner kick towards the near post. Headed out by Davies. And also I should mention, it wasn't on that graphic, but we're going to have the Pancyprians rescheduled game from a snow postponement against Central Park Rangers on the 18th as well. So much APSL action coming up in the Metro Conference for us. I think we're going to have 3 or 4 games next weekend. Here's Granberg. Tristino. Wriggling and turning. Tristino. Nehar was off balance. Can only put it out for a corner. Tristino has totally got that left side of Vistula's defence on toast at the moment. Second time he's shredded his man on the outside. Bermudez again will take this corner. It's a floated ball in. Massive bodies, and it comes back to Munoz. Munoz with pinpoint distribution to Elazai. Rodriguez. Tomlinson. They are. Second ball will come to Rakowski. Headed out by Gray. Rakowski again. A lost sheep. Gabriel Costa. Costello. Costa. Elazai taking on Towie. Cutting to the byline. Sets it back. The shot! And the goal! Vistula take the lead at St John's. It's the legend, Chris Carks, with his 5th goal of the season. 42 years old. And still showing no sign of slowing down. Huge amount of credit goes to Elazai as well. Took on Towie, cut down to the byline and served the veteran his dinner on a platter. And Vistula going to shock another one of the Greek sides away from home. It was Leros last weekend. Could it be the Pancyprians tonight? First test of 2026 for the Pancyprians. At this point they were 3-0 up against Newark International. Or approaching that point. And they didn't really have to move beyond third gear to do that, but this Vistula side has tested them defensively right from the first whistle, and now they lead it. Great. Steinrod, who Vistula have kept under lock and key after that early chance he had. Hoff drills it centrally. Jordan Balon. Balon still. Tristino. Cleared out. Comes to Balon. Really well watched by Costello. Elazai surrounded. Will not be rushed though. Krokzowski very fortunate to keep that ball. One back. No by Hoff, who read the pass. Domenhinu. Gray goes direct for Tristino. That's going to ask too much of him with that diagonal. Joe Holland has Sebastian Ruiz for the first time this year to call on. He's on the bench, has a very good scoring record though against Vistula. Scored 5 goals in the last 4 meetings between the sides. And he may be called on sooner rather than later. Another pinpoint ball by Munoz to Elazai. Davis. Rodriguez has lost it, and Vistula are short-handed here. Jordan Balon, Jack Steinrod onto his right foot. Good recovery by Nayar. Big let off in the middle for Vistula. That's a lovely interchange on the far side. Costa. Pino smothering the winger. Referee allowing play to continue. Tomlinson, no one in the middle at the moment for Vistula, at least in the penalty area. Whipped in by Aloshi, cleared out easily by Hinu. Jack Steinrod, there's a big gap on the right side of the defence. Wasn't a good enough ball by the Sheffield boy, excuse me. Pancyprian went into tonight knowing it's a must-win game to retain any hope of catching the Greeks, even with the points that the Greeks dropped last weekend. Costello. Thomas Gray there to intercept. Balon. Granberg. Steenrod. Manhandled down by Neha. Final few minutes of this first half. The veteran Christopher Clarks has given Vistula the lead here. Jordan Balon drives it in. Not enough distance on the ball. Now's a chance for Vistula to break. Elazite. Costa with him. Finds Chris Clarks instead. Down the channel. And the flag is going to go up against Vistula. Chance wasted. It was Kozowski who had ventured forward from left at back. Tristino sends it towards Jordan Balon. Jordan Balon, it was a decent enough first touch, but still had a lot to do with the strike and couldn't angle it back onto the frame. Hino hooks it down the line. Gonzalo Di Pereira, who's been very quiet in this first half. Eloshi switches it. Elazai can have another try at Sean Towie here. Elazai to his right foot. Cuts back onto his left. Pancyprian's doubling up on him. He's a tricky customer, Elazai. Still with it. And he's won a free kick for Vistula in a promising shooting position. Pancyprian's unable to get to grips with Vistula's weaving left winger in this first half. Decent opportunity here for the visitors. Loshi and Costa over it. It's a Loshi low, simple for Shehadeh. Tristino. Granberg. They're still sitting deep. They just look to go into the half-time whistle with this lead. Elazai. Cox. Asking a lot of Elazai. Great. Finds Tristino. Granberg. Tristino. Towie, they're queuing up in the middle. Davis with a foot on it. Comes back, a really good strike. It clats off the post, rebound. Bermudez, the flag's going to deny the Pancyprians. Oh, that was a sensational strike by Gil de Pereira. Caught that volley as sweetly as you like. The bounce and the pace confounded Munoz. Clashed off the post, although perhaps I'm doing the keeper a disservice Have to watch your back. He may have got a touch on that. Hard to see in real time, but either way, the Pancyprians are a whisker away from equalising. Elazai. Aloshi. Delayed pulling the trigger. He has won a corner though for Vistula. It's been an entertaining first half, no doubt about it. Corner taken short. Elazai with perhaps his worst touch of the half. What's been a very good one for him. Here's James Tristino. Balon. Perhaps time for one more attack in this half for the Pancyprians. Hinu. Hoff. Up towards Steinrod. Davis got the first head on it. Bermudez. Forced away really well by Rodriguez. And Rodriguez will win the free kick. And that should see Vistula through to the half-time whistle. Fired up. Towie with the header. And that is the end of an action-packed first half. Chris Couch with the goal. Plenty of chances at either end. Pancyprians rattling the post. And, you know, the Pancyprians, you can probably hear a little unclear about that offside call that was made after the ball rattled the post. Have to watch that one back. But also a very good save by Munoz at the beginning of the half to deny Steinrod. And Vistula have looked dangerous all evening as well at the other end. Well, guys, it is beautifully poised here at St. John's. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back shortly with the second half.
From soccer fields across the USA to the legendary stadiums of Spain and Portugal, for 40 years, Petrobax has been the go-to expert for group travel to Spain and Portugal. We organize soccer group trips from start to finish, flights, hotels, transportation, and guided tours, all perfectly coordinated by our experienced team. Your trip can include attending La Liga and Portuguese Primeira Liga games, matches against local teams, pro training sessions, and even tournaments. As true experts in Spain and Portugal, we'll ensure you also experience the rich history, vibrant culture, and incredible food these countries are famous for. Celebrating 40 years of crafting unforgettable journeys to Spain and Portugal. Petrobax, your team, your passion, your trip to Spain and Portugal starts here.
My name is Austin Brummett. I'm a men's soccer player at San Diego State University and I play forward. The Salt Air Case helps block odor from my cleats when I'm driving in my car or when I'm keeping my cleats inside my house, so I don't have to worry about it stinking up my room. It helps me keep track of my cleats and my shin guards so I know that they're together and I don't have to worry about tracking them down or losing them or stressing out about where they are. I would definitely rock this, walking to the games, walking around to my trainings. And it's super helpful for travel. When I travel in the airport to go to away games, it's not going to stink up my backpack or stink up the plane where I'm sitting. Magnetic strip on the top is super easy to open to take my cleats out and to put my cleats back in. I think it's an essential part of my outfit for soccer and helps keep all my stuff organized and stink-free.
A quality highlight reel is crucial for college and pro recruitment. A lot of services offer generic solutions, but at Game & Frame we know every player is unique and needs a personalised approach to win over coaches. Our process is simple. We work with any footage, and if you need help finding your best plays, we'll review games for you. Once we've finished, you'll have a reel you can upload to any recruitment platform. We've helped hundreds of players get the attention they deserve, including placements in Division 1 programs. Scan the QR code or email us for a free consultation and start the journey to maximize your recruitment potential. Hello everyone, welcome back to St John's. Vistula with the lead, and Lansdowne, last time I checked, leading Richmond County 1-0 at Tibet Brooks Park. They were a few minutes into the second half there. Richmond have a decent record away against Lansdowne. Or indeed against Lansdowne in general, actually. Joe Holland making one change at half-time. Sebastian Ruiz, who has been a hex for Vistula in previous meetings, has come on. He's going to go onto the left wing, his first appearance for the Pancyprians in 2026. He's replaced Chris Bermudez, and Gonzalo Gil de Perea has gone into the centre midfield. Big 45 minutes for the Pancyprians. Must win game here to have any hope of catching the Greeks, but there's a back and forth first half. They'll be a bit disappointed, the Pancyprians. They couldn't score. Very good early Jack Stainrod chance. They hit the post right before the half-time whistle. The referee has blown the whistle, and I think he's given the free kick to Vistula. So funny sort of coming together between Stainrod and, or excuse me, Clarks and Thomas Gray. And actually Gray's come off a bit worse for wear from it. Tomlinson up towards Clarks. Gray recovered and he won the aerial duel there, but the referee has given Vistula a free kick. I think he felt that Gray came in too heavy on the back of Clarks. I thought that was a bit soft personally. Very good chance here for Vistula early in the second half. Rodriguez over it, but instead it's fired in brilliantly by Elazai. What a hit! And Vistula really have got the upset on their cards now. Perfect start to the second half for the visitors. You won't see a better striker of a ball than that. Elazai with an exquisite free kick. No chance for share date, and the Pancyprians in real trouble now. Still they have time. Well, I was saying Vistula be happy with a point tonight, given the dangers of being sucked into the relegation battle once again, but they could well come away with 3 here. That ball somehow stayed in, now then failed to clear it. Ruiz. Cox got a tackle in behind Granberg. They lost sheet. Whatever Coach Holland's team talk was to the Pancyprians, that's up in smoke now. They've got a whole different game now. They're chasing 2 behind against Vistula. So de Perea. Ruiz back to de Perea. Hoff. Hino. And if Vistula does hold on to this lead, that will be 7 points away against 3 of the big Greek sides. They drew against Laos. They beat Laos. Excuse me. They drew against the Greeks. Can they make it? Another one now against the Pancyprians at St John's. Still time. Plenty of time. That looks like a lot of contact in the box. To be fair, not huge appeals from the Pancyprians from here. It looked as if de Perea was brought down accidentally, albeit, but he got the ball first. Granbug held onto it too long. Elazai assisted the first goal and superbly tucked in that free kick on the second. It's been quite simply too hot to handle for the Pancyprians so far tonight. Elazai drills it cross field. Watching it carefully. Ruiz. Down the channel. Ruiz scampers after it. They are judging the situation well. Hinu. Hoff. Gray into Jack Stainrod. He couldn't help it onto Ruiz. Coach Hollins has got another 2 players warming up on the bench. More options to call upon. A couple of the new signings sitting on there. Great. Does well there. Thomas Gray. Here's Hinu. Ruiz. Balon. Crossfield. But a lot of height for Koksowski. Back with the Pancyprians. Towie. Big head out by Naya. Balon. Just Stainrod to aim for. It's Jack Stainrod. 2 defenders, enough to stop him. Granbug. Sean Towie. Balon. Again, it's just Stainrod to aim for. In the 18-yard box for the cross. That ball went out. Stainrod. He's done well to buy himself a free kick there. I think there was a little contact, perhaps just enough to justify a free kick, but he certainly made sure the referee saw it there. Jack Stainrod. Stainrod towards the near post, not a great delivery and also not a fantastic header at the near post by Aloshi. It will be a corner kick for the Pancyprians. Stainrod, who you'd think would be one of the men the Pancyprians would want in the penalty area at 6'2", but he's taking the corner as well here. Curls it in, that's a good ball. It was Hino at the near post, couldn't get a strong enough connection and straight into the hands of Aldo Munoz. Once again, super distribution. He's got a laser beam to Elazai. It's the third time he's found him like that. Rodriguez. Granberg got a touch on it. It's a good interception by Joe de Pereira. Tristino. Well checked by Vistula's defence to take the heat out of the counter-attack. Balon. Sebastian Ruiz can run at Tomlinson. Onto his left foot. Ruiz, Nehart. Intercepted at the front post. Corner. "35 minutes remaining here at St John's. Pancyprians in real trouble of squandering the hope that their rivals Doxa gave them by taking 2 points off of the Greeks last Sunday. Driven in again. It's a dangerous ball. Goalmouth scramble. Cleared temporarily for Vistula. Steinrod back into the mix-up. Tristino. That's going to be another corner for the Pancyprians. Swung out by Balon over the entire pack. Tristino with a very vocal appeal for a foul, ignored by the referee. Sebastian Ruiz drove that ball in, and Vistula survive a hair-raising few minutes unscathed. Coach Holland is going to make his second change. Towie withdrawn. Granberg is going to go to that right back position by the looks of it. We'll get a look at the number in a sec of who has come on off the bench. It's Axel Bugland. This is his debut for the Pancyprians. He's going to be the defensive midfielder. He finds Tristino. One of 12 signings Joe Holland made over the winter break. Here's Jordan Balon. That's an interesting ball. It falls to Tristino. And the rebound wouldn't settle for Steinrod. Vistula don't want to sit on their heels too early. Been hemmed in and around their penalty area last 4 or 5 minutes. And this is a team with the worst defensive record in the league. That was a good tackle by Rodriguez. Here's Hinu. And that's going to cannon off of the shin of De Pereira, who boots away in frustration. Vistula have not kept a clean sheet in the league this season. They're going to make a double change here. Is it going to be now? Yes, it is. It's Costa and Rodriguez who are going to be taken off. Or Gutierrez, actually, excuse me. And Costa, who are being withdrawn. It's Rodriguez who's come on to the right wing for Vistula. Jens Hoff. The Norwegian roaring forwards. Kevin Ardivia, the other player on for Vistula. Elazay somehow or other ended up on his rear end on the far side, back to his feet now gingerly. Poor ball by Hoff. Shaday's going to scamper off his line and clears the line as well. Good ball by, well, I thought for a second by Berland. It was intercepted by Davis. Goksowski. Cox. Elazay. Valdivia. Elazay again. Dancing feet. Couldn't thread his way through that time. And you know, it looks as if Gutierrez may have stayed on. It's a little hard to see the Vistula numbers from here. But I think actually it was a lost sheet who was withdrawn. Jack Steinrod. Nahar sticking to him closely again. Vistula a little incredulous they didn't get the throw in. Bailon. Hinu. Sebastian Ruiz. Tomlinson showing him inside. That's a little bit dangerous. Gutierrez had to fill in the gap. Holland preparing another pair of changes. Ruiz. Jens Hoff. Got brought down. I thought that was probably shoulder to shoulder, which is what you can hear probably from Ed Cox is saying. And he's got a booking. I hope that wasn't for the foul, because that would have been very harsh, perhaps for some of the dissent. Steinrod to take this. Dinks it in. Headed clear by Cox. Ruiz. Bailon. Ruiz drills it crossfield. Granberg. Really good first touch by Eddie Granberg. Towards the touchline. Corner kick. We're inside the final half hour. Pancyprians have got to the final 3 goals without reply. Driven in, Trustino met it with power. Couldn't keep it down. And now we will see more changes for the Pancyprians. Looks as if Steinrod is going to be taken off, and Devon Hinu as well. And you know, that may be rather unfortunate, the timing for Pancyprians, because Tristino is just pulled up. I think he's going to try and walk this off, but might have subbed off the wrong attacker. Time will tell. I think Coach Holland may have switched the Pancyprians to back three now. He's brought in another one of the new signings, a debut for Konstantin Donales. He's going to go in midfield too. Ruiz. He's going to fall to Gio de Pereira. Davis got the tackle just right. Rodriguez. Space well covered by Thomas Gray. It's Braden Brown, who's very pacey. On as well for the Pancyprians. He's gone into centre forwards. Driven up towards Brown. It's a Long Island native. Got 13 goals in 20 appearances in his freshman year that he's just finished at Queen's College. Jordan Pereira. Ruiz. De Pereira. Bugland. Donales. Hoff finds Sebastian Ruiz. Ruiz, clever reverse ball. De Pereira. And it's over the crossbar by Balon on the rebound. He was at full stretch and he couldn't keep it down. And Cyprian's claving Vistila's defence wide open. That final finish lacking. Tristino withdrawn, he couldn't run off the injury. Juan Martinez Moreno, who has proven himself a super sub before for the Pancyprians, is on. So it's an entirely changed front three now. And I believe that is the last of Coach Holland's subs. So he's cast his die. Sub to the 11 on the pitch to turn this around. Ardavia. Pancyprians have certainly dominated the possession in this second half. Well, that wonderful free kick in the first minute of this period by Elazai, giving Vistula the cushion lead. Balon drives it out to Ruiz, who watched that one well, swerving at pace towards him. Ruiz drives it in, flicked on the near post. Tough angle for Braden Brown. Couldn't hit the target. So I haven't checked the Lansdowne result recently, but presuming they're still beating Richmond, they tonight go level with the Greeks, the top of the Metropolitan Conference on 32 points. Greeks with 2 games in hand, albeit. Hoboken on 25 points. They'll have a game in hand on the Greeks and 3 games in hand on Lansdowne. And then the Pancyprians, if this result holds on, are well adrift on 24 points, having played 12 games, the same number of the Greeks. So they will stay 8 points behind the Greek Americans. And you're pinching yourself a bit, because this is the Vistula side that lost 5-0 on Wednesday at home to Lansdowne. It's been a totally different performance from them tonight. have ridden their luck occasionally defensively, but mostly, particularly in the second half, they've limited the Pancyprians' chances, other than that recent one by Baylon. Berglund, and this is a Pancyprians team, you have to remember, that has scored 4 goals in each of its last 5 league games. Sebastian Ruiz drives it across, really dangerous ball, comes towards that far post, enough on the palm of Munoz to take it clear of Moreno at that back post. Baylon back in, and Di Perea got a touch in it, but would have had to have been something special to beat Munoz with that stretched toe. Great. Searching for Ruiz. Got the angles wrong. Elizate. Dancing feet again. Kuczowski. Elizate. Set back. Valdivia, but Pancyprians turning over possession. Here's Ruiz. De Perea. Berglund. Heavy touch by him. Gutierrez. Tomlinson has touched that around Gray. Finds Valdivia inside. Good positioning by Berglund. Guys, reminder, we've got more APSL action coming up tomorrow, 6 p.m. Leros hosts Hoboken. Big battle for the title race. Hoboken looking to close the gap further on the Greeks. And for Leros, it is do or die if they want to have any chance of making the top 4. Although this would give them a massive boost. Defeat for the Pancyprians tonight. I mean, if they could beat Hoboken, they would move within 4 points of their Hellenic rivals, who are in the final playoff spot. Moreno. We're also going to have the relegation 6-pointer between Zoom Snyder and Nyack at 7:30. The bottom 2 can only be one survivor in the season, and at the moment, at least, it's looking most likely as if it will be one of those 2 sides in the drop zone. Come the end of May. Free kick for the Pancyprians, about 25 yards out. Gonzalo De Perea puts the ball down ominously, but there's nothing ominous about that shot. It's closer to the corner flag. It's going for the knuckleball. Totally sliced the strike. Oh, down the line. Braden Brown. Excellent recovery, tackle by Nehar. Had to Stop Braden Brown then and there. Once he's got a head start on you, there is no catching him. Moreno will send this in. Everyone back except for Elazai for Vistula. Really poor ball in by Moreno. Granberg wins it back. That had gone out though. Guys, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Umbro. You can head to umbroteam.com to start designing your team kit for free now. Produced by Umbro, designed and worn by you. I think in one of those breaks, Vistula made another change. Igor Trajeski has joined the fray. He's replaced Costello, I believe. De Perea. Cox, give and go, and it's Donales filling in. 15 minutes remaining here. Pancyprians are staring down the barrel of defeat. Much of it at the hands of this man, Elazai. Ran out of gas there. Moreno's going to get a free kick, clumsy. The tackle by Rodriguez. Another change is going to be made by Vistula. I think it's going to be the legend Chris Clarks, who scored the opener here. Withdrawn, 42 years old. Not bad to score against the Pancyprians at that age. So it appears Phil De Villa is now going to be centre forward, and it's another defender who's come on for Vistula. We'll get a look at the number in a second. Juan Moreno. It's just not enough bodies forward for the Pancyprians right now. Hoff. Ruiz. Threads it in. De Perea. Just so many white shirts in the penalty area. Vistula with the lower sub blocks. Ruiz looking to split it through them. It's going to be another corner for the Pancyprians. Now swing up by Sebastian Ruiz. Straight into the hands of Munoz. And he hurls it out to Rodriguez. And it's the newest addition, Kovek, in the black boots, and the number 3. Not a good pass there. Berglund. Thomas Gray. Pancyprians need a goal. Give themselves a foothold late on in this contest. Clumsy tackle on the back of Balon, and that's a cheap free kick for Vistula. to give away. Another opportunity for the Pancyprians to hurl the ball into the penalty area. Balon swings it in, that's a good ball, and it's gone wide. I think it was Donales who had the shot there. Wickedly whipped in with pace by Balon, and that ball deserved a better finish. Elazai, who I think is going to go down fairly as the man of the match tonight, withdrawn, assisted the first goal with a brilliant run and set back for Cox, and then the free kick. Well, if you haven't seen it live, go back to the start of the second half and you'll see what a special strike it was. Aldavia, Tomlinson, Granberg looking for Ruiz. And if this scoreline holds, it will also be the 6th time the Pancyprians have been defeated this year, or this season, excuse me, the 25-26 season. And every single one of those defeats they've failed to score. It's the only time they have failed to score. They've only won or lost this season. Every single defeat they have failed to hit the back of the net. Still trying to change that here. Braden Brown did about the best he could with that header. And the penalty spot. Tomlinson pounds it down the line. Gray's done well to keep it in. And turns Rodriguez as well. Helped on, that's a good touch, and Braden Brown is on side here. Just had to check back. Nahar got in a good enough position. Sebastian Ruiz. Dinks it in. There's a shape up for a bicycle kick there. It didn't come. I do apologise. I think I've been misidentifying Nayar as Condra Towitz, or leaving Condra Towitz in the number 5. Looks very similar to the number 6. Coach Holland did have one more sub up his sleeve. Tenorio is going to come on for Granberg. Aldavia, return to Rokowski, who's poked it in, and Shayla Day got plenty on the initial save, but it was still careening towards his own goal line. Recovered quickly, the keeper. Boglund, Sebastian Ruiz. Pass one. Couldn't get past Koksowski. Donales. Great. Tenorio. Or Boland even, excuse me. That's going to be a foul and probably a yellow card for De Perea. Don't think there can be any complaint about that. And Rodriguez's number is up. Job very nearly done for Vistula. And not all the, none of the results from past APSL seasons are available online, so I can't verify this independently, but to my memory and knowledge, Vistula have not beaten any of the so-called big three in the APSL Metro Conference of Lansdowne, Greeks, or the Pancyprians previously. If I've got that wrong, Vistula fans, you can send Game Frame at Angry DM. But regardless if they had or not, this is a historic result for Vistula, no doubt about that. But they will become the third team to win here this season at St John's. Lansdowne doing it, and Leros as well. And it's just yet another statistic that has gone against the Pancyprians this year. That's really clumsy by Hoff. Valdivia finds Rodriguez. Vistula perhaps could rub salt in the wound. Bit of confusion at the back, but the Pancyprians come away with it. Thomas Gray. Moreno. Looking for a coy ball to Braden Brown. Couldn't find him. And I say that's another statistic, just going back to the home defeats that's gone against the Pancyprians this year. They had an unbeaten run at home that extended from June 2024 all the way to Lansdowne beating them at the end of October in 2025. So they went the entire 24-25 season, one in which they did the double, undefeated at home, but 3 defeats this season at home. Sebastian Ruiz, Jinghin turning. Of course, that could still be changed very late here to 2 defeats at home. But I think the Pancyprians will be disappointed with how little they have tested Vistula in the second half, or really, I should say, tested Munoz in between the sticks. They've had 1 or 2 good chances, Balon with a very good one, and one off the set piece, but it hasn't been the volume that you'd perhaps expect from them, and the very high standards they set. Moreno. Contra Towich. Clearing the lines. Balon. Great. To Pereira. Moreno. Drives it in. Contra Towitz. To Pereira. Moreno. And the shot on the edge. Had a decent bend to it by Bugland. But too high, too wide. As we tick into the 89th minute. Vistula so close to the finish line. This would leave them 7 points clear of the relegation zone, with Zoom and Nyack to play against each other tomorrow night. That gives Vistula a lot of breathing room. Historically, it's taken 20 points for a team to survive in the APSL. Vistula, in both their previous seasons in the Metro Conference, have just passed that barrier to survive. It's always come down to the last 2 weeks for them. Fired in, Braden Brown got something on it. Moreno will keep it in the field of play. Balon back in, corner kick. Kuczowski with the header. Vistula are throwing their bodies in at every opportunity to keep that ball out of the net, and they are approaching a famous victory and a first clean sheet of the season. Swung in, punched out by Munoz, made an excellent save in the second minute of the contest. That's not a good enough cross for the Pancyprians. And Vistula will take as long as they can on this goal kick. A reminder, guys, more APSL Metro action coming up on Game and Frame tomorrow. The game arguably of the weekend. Leros against Hoboken at 6 p.m. live from Sousa All in the Cohen Complex. And then we're going to have a relegation 6-pointer between the bottom two, Nyack and Zoom. Both for that exclusively on Game and Frame YouTube. Ruiz. Balon. Kontratowicz has been a monster early in this second half. Donales. Balon. Swings it in. Braden Brown! It's a late lifeline for the Pancyprians. Surely too late to salvage 3 points, but perhaps they can get at least one. Brown with his first goal for the Pancyprians. Met the volley with emphatic contact, and at that range, no chance for Munoz. Vistula may come away with victory, but once again, they're going to be denied a clean sheet. And a big question mark here, how much stoppage time will the referee play? We're already 70 seconds through it. I would imagine we're going to get 4 or 5 minutes minimum. Has been a contentious topic at times, St. John's stoppage time. Remember the 10 minutes we got against the Greeks about a year ago here. Pancyprians did find an all-important goal in that one. Braden Brown has put them halfway towards a draw. Vistula now cleared out by Tomlinson. Donales. Tenorio. Too much on this. Oh, it'd be so cruel to Vistula if they were to lose this victory now. Tenorio. It's going to be a free kick for the Pancyprians. Can they fashion out one more chance? Jens Hoff. Moreno. Drills it in. Diagonal. They're queuing up. Headed across the face to goal. Sebastian Ruiz hooks it back in. Well, that's Boglund, even, excuse me. Adavia. Oh, how much that free kick is worth. Vistula, who were shaking there for a second. Driven up. Tenorio. Donales, that's going to be a free kick, and it should certainly be a yellow card. And I think I've seen the referee hold up one finger. I think we've got 1 minute left here. Now or never for the Pancyprians. They have a habit of finding goals when they need them late here. Bugland. Moreno. Hat clear by Rodriguez. Bugland. Balon. Booted clear by Jajeski, and that will do it. Vistula stunned the Pancyprians at St John's. It's a huge 3 points for their relegation survival hopes, and it's a massive dent for the Pancyprians' already quite remote chances of catching the Greeks at the top. They will remain 8 points behind their arch nemesis, and Doxa and Leros now have a chance to close the gap on them tomorrow. Very tense, finely balanced game throughout. There was an even first half. Munoz made a fantastic save early onto the nice stain rod before Elazite did a weaving run down the left flank and set up the 42-year-old Chris Carks, who found the opener. Pancyprians hit the post right before half time and were denied goal on that rebound for offside. Watching it back, I have to say I think it was the right call on offside. Looked very tight, but I think that was the right call. And then right at the start of the second half, Elazite with a superb free kick doubled the lead. The Pancyprians knocked on the door, but overall Vistula were stout defensively in a way that they have struggled to be throughout this season, and it took a very late Braden Brown goal to put the contest and the result into dispute. And it was just shaky final few minutes for Vistula, a nail-biting few minutes, but they've seen it over the lines, and for the third time this season the Pancyprians are defeated at St John's. It's their fourth defeat in the league, and that is probably the Greek Americans out of sight now, unless they surprisingly drop more points tomorrow. They're going to host CPR, so it would be a surprise indeed with the form CPR in. But guys, a big thank you to you for tuning in tonight. A reminder, we've got more APSL Metro action coming up tomorrow evening. Leros against Hoboken. Hoboken looking to close the gap on the Greeks. Leros looking to close the gap on the Pancyprians. It is the game of the weekend in the division. And also we're going to have a relegation 6-pointer between Zumsnyder and Nyack. Those two level at the bottom on 6 points. It's one certainly not to miss for the opposite reasons. Going to get some great relegation drama. But a big thank you to Joshua Jockroot for doing all the good work behind the camera. Thank you to Umbra, our sponsor. Thank you to the Pancyprians for bringing us down here tonight. Thank you to all of you for watching. This is Josh Pratt signing off from St John's Belson Stadium. Have a good night, everyone.